So let's dive into a little bit of Mr. Young here, Vince. So you're gonna see he's wearing number 22, and you're gonna see him playing a lot of stand-up edge. But the first thing you notice, Vince, on a clip like this is length. This is a
Absolutely.
very, very long young man. Look at the arms. Really nice first step, really nice dip and rip.
Yep.
This is not the kind of, you didn't see this kind of play from him as a sophomore, Vince. That kind of physical play where he could just rip inside of a guy. If he tried that as a sophomore, he'd get pushed to the ground. You know, you saw him use his hands a little bit better here, but you
Good
just see the
hands, yeah.
frame, you know. He's still figuring it out, but you're seeing he started to, as a junior, started to develop somewhat of an understanding of what he was trying to do. You know, like there was a game plan going on at his leg.
Sure.
Look out, and he also look at it. Notice he's got a cast in his left hand as well, or on his
Oh,
left
yeah.
wrist. But just look how long he is. I mean, he's in that stance. He can almost put his hand on the ground. This is a very long athlete.
And there's a great clip coming up where he runs down a ball carrier.
Yeah,
and his strides, like he covers ground
yeah.
with his strides.
Now here's something, right? Like block destruction, taking on blocks, doesn't see the fullback,
Yeah.
right? This is something he's going to have to improve upon. He's going to need to anchor that. A bigger fullback's going to blow him up right here if he's not more prepared for it, right? So these are the things that are part of the evolution. And this is what I say, you can learn stuff and negatives about a kid on a highlight because not every play that a kid thinks is a highlight is actually a highlight. And that's the thing that you'll see from him is he's a kid that has a lot of is this the play you were talking about?
Yes,
Vince?
this is the one. I mean, watch the ground that he makes up. He's a defensive end.
Yeah, long.
Look at that.
Strider.
Just long, just those long legs, just making up ground.
He is at the top of the line. So just to follow this play all the way through, he's at the top of the line of scrimmage here on this particular play.
Because he gets to the quarterback almost, because it's a screen. There he is. And look where the ball carrier is.
It's 10 yards in front of him, over 10 yards in front of him.
Look at him close that.
And he almost gets him by midfield.
I mean, jeez.
Yeah, he almost gets to him by midfield. Hey, you know the thing I noticed too about him as a junior, Vince, he worked his feet a lot better through contact. Again, still a work in progress in that regard, but he did a better job of working his feet through contact. And that's going to be something like right here. He's not sure of what's coming, right? You don't see that same, like a more seasoned guy is going to see this pull and close on it quick and pop. But what I do like is he takes the right shoulder angle and then he just smashes the guard. I mean, that's the thing is like that guard's like, what the freaking heck did I just run into? Right?
Guards love this play. Guards love to just kick. Guards are interior guys. They love to just kick out. That's easy. You just kick them out. You make a lane, no problem. You're running. That guy's usually not. Like the offensive lineman has the momentum here, and he just gets
destroyed
up.
Right. I mean, and then he comes off and makes the play.
Yeah.
So there's so much about this. You're like, this kid's not even close to doing this the right way. Like not even close to doing this the right way early on. But the minute contact comes, you see the talent shine.
And the strength and the, right.
Yeah. And that's what you like to see, Vince, right? So this is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, work in progress. And you can still see the arms are kind of skinny, right? Now he's in a 2-point stance and he could basically tie his shoes from this stance. I mean, look how long his arms are. This is look how this is something that
didn't have a prayer.
This Vince is something that the last play shows too. You know what really popped as a junior, even more than anything else? The hand strength as a junior. He doesn't make plays like this as a sophomore. This play does not show up on a sophomore film. He literally throws the guy but throws him as he's continuing to run. Watch his feet. He doesn't slow it. This kid is just a gnat to him. Like it doesn't change he keeps running through to the quarterback as he throws the kid. Right. And that's
doesn't lose any speed either. I mean, he just runs right through the kid. And then not only that, has the wherewithal to get his hands up too. I mean, he goes off of the kid and then puts his hands up in the air to try to, direct the pass. I mean,
you don't see this every day, Vince. A 4-point stance.
4-point stance.
You don't see that every day. What I like about this play is this is a kid that is somewhat decent size. And early on, you see Bryce kind of get knocked back, but I love the competitiveness and how he uses his hands to get that guy off of him and get to the ball carrier. Right. There's some things you're going to work on with his first step, Vince. But
absolutely.
Like how he finished.
He went straight up. I mean, he's not used to being in a 4-point stance. Obviously, he comes straight up, so he kind of gets knocked back a little bit, but he stays there. He holds the block and then makes the play. So you'd have to work on that, obviously, a little bit. because he's just not used to it. That's not what he normally does.
Yeah, but you can see that even those plays, you can see the hand. Two things that scream at you about Bryce off film is junior film: crazy length and very, very strong hands.
Yes, absolutely,
very strong, and that surprised me because
look how he keeps that guy out here. I think that's a tight end, if I'm not mistaken. But he keeps him out here and basically runs him into the play. I mean,
and look at him. That's a good sized kid, Vince.
Absolutely.
I mean that's a kid probably going to play college football somewhere.
He's wearing number 1 for a reason,
right? But he's a good size. Now here, look, this is what you'll see. This get off. It's not great, right? But you can tell it's he's not like in a stance he's got a little flat footed with his front stance. He's got a little false step action, right? I mean, these are all things you work on. His front, you're supposed to drive off that front foot, but what he does is he picks it up and puts it back.
Yep.
Doesn't drive off of it.
It's a false step.
Exactly.
So we do that. You and I did that a bunch when we were wide receivers coaches. You don't want that false step off the line.
That's why you turn that foot in, because that your foot does not come off the ground. You dig and you drive off of that.
Correct.
You don't lose ground with that front foot. Those are things that can be corrected, right? And so those are things you look for when you see a clip like that. Here's another play. I'm just getting to the backfield really quickly, because sometimes you're like, okay, why don't they block this kid? Like, are they purposely not blocking him? And then you realize like they're trying to. They're just not getting over there quick enough because of how quickly he closed down. So this one is a little bit better. He sees a puller, but he beats the guy to the point of attack. So you really, excuse me, you really see a lot of that as a junior, Vince. And he played with a little bit more, I don't want to say swagger as a junior. Like it looked like he was more comfortable playing football as a junior.
And that makes sense.
Again,
I mean, that makes sense.
Not really sure of what his plan is here. I think he's uncertain of, okay, what move do I use? Right. So again, not a great highlight there. But you see the length. He keeps that little tackle off of his body. He keeps eyes on the quarterback. That's what I like about this play. Keeps his eyes on the quarterback, gets disruptive, breaks the big
ends up getting a piece of the ball. But he still does a great job. Now that you mentioned it, the extension on he never lets an offensive lineman get into him.
Which was not true as a sophomore. Guy's got in his body all the time as a sophomore.
Yep.
But there's a lot to like about Mr. Young here, Vince. Just the length, just consistently. This is good read and react here too, Vince. He's taken, obviously he's coming inside, he immediately sees it, hustles outside, and gets out to the play. Right. That's a thing that I like too. He looked a bit more instinctive as a junior than he did as a sophomore.
He'd been there, done that a little bit more. Yeah. He's recognizing different things.
I'd be very curious to find out when he started playing football.
Sure.
Like, I don't know when. I don't know the answer. It would not shock me if he just decided he wanted to play football till later. Like he didn't grow up playing like Pop Warner and all that other kind of stuff. Here's another example with his feet. He doesn't really know what his plan is here. There's a little bit of uncertainty here, right?
This is you'll see that a lot. See ball, get ball,
right?
Kind of a
but
situation.
Then he just takes off, and you see the speed. You're like, okay,
right,
yeah,
right,
yep, right. You see the speed. There's just a lot of natural tools to work with here, Vince. A lot of natural tools to work with.
And there's a natural maturation process for kids in high school, right? When you're a sophomore and you're playing varsity, and this is normal. Like when you're a sophomore playing varsity, you're happy to have a seat at the table. And you're just out there and you're kind of making plays and you're doing, see ball, get ball, that kind of thing. You should see a mental growth to your junior year. And I think that is what we are seeing with him. He is recognizing things a little bit better. Obviously, there's physical growth there. Now, what do we see when we go to senior year? I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I
can't wait for the senior film.
It's going to be very interesting. And they played Providence Day twice last year as well. Providence Day, isn't that where I think that's where Jaden Thomas or Jaden Davis plays? Beat him in the regular season, lost to him in the postseason. So it's a very, very intriguing player, Vince. Very intriguing player. And pretty long highlight film as a junior.
I know,
Let's
right?
see.
And
he doesn't make a lot of disruptive plays, but you're like, man, he only got credited with 6 tackles for loss, and I feel like he was in the backfield a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Here's another one. You want to see him with a little bit better plan, but he's just too athletic for these kids he's going against.
He likes that inside move, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He takes advantage of those of kids that just start kicking back, and then he just goes inside of them.
Yeah. I like this. This is one of the few times you see him kind of come outside, but this is one of the few times you see him have to use a secondary move,
Little
right?
spin.
Yeah, that shows me there's a little bit of a feel there.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you recognize that field, remember that defensive lineman that committed to Notre Dame a couple years ago and then flipped to Vanderbilt? That's the high school he played against. Yeah, this guy oversets and Bryce beats him inside easily.
Yep.
That's a big
Very
kid.
easily.
Yeah, yeah. This is against Providence Day. I'm going to check this, Vince. I think that's Jaden Thomas, the quote unquote 5-star quarterback from that's committed to Michigan. But yeah, that's Jaden against Jaden Thomas. So they beat Jaden Thomas' school in the regular season and lost to him in the championship game. Yeah. So see a few more here of these. Again, footwork wise, that's the thing for me. A lot of work needed on footwork, right? A lot of false steps, a lot of kind of running in place at times. When he turns it loose, though, you see a kid that's got some ability to cover a lot of ground. Nice little dip there. You don't get a chance to see him do that a lot. They just don't allow him to do that a lot. But that little dip on the edge to the quarterback breaks up the pass, hits the guy before it gets there. You see more of that stuff as a junior. Again, good feel, right? He's coming off the edge, sees the quick pitch, and he redirects and gets out there. Really good closing speed.
He does. His closing speed is really good.
Yeah. It's impressive. See, again, like you don't see the most fluid of hips, right? So this isn't a guy that I really want dropping into coverage a ton, but nice change of direction. But look at the downhill close there. That's what
what you take off of this clip is the close.
Yeah. But that's good hip flexibility for a guy that's going to be playing field end. You know, that's the part of it that you like, right? It's that
another time where he chases a guy down, man.
Yeah, this kid hustles.
See, I like that. A lot of times you're going to see if you're out of the play, guys just stop going. I mean, and he's a defensive end who's chasing down running back skill kids. I mean,
here he's dropping into coverage, beating a guy, getting out to the football, and just closes so quickly on the football.
Yeah.
He really does close. And look, again, I see a kid that's just got a lot of the tools you want. It's just still about a lot of refinement, physical refinement, game refinement.
Yep.
There's a lot to like here about this young man. But again, as you see, he's a work of progress. This is another play where he doesn't allow himself to get sucked in, right? He sees it. Okay, what am I doing? And then the sideline hustle out running. It's a nice job. Nice job there by that corner to go outside. Well done. Now, he's also a teammate of Micah Gilbert, who is a wide receiver that's going to be making a college decision on Tuesday.
Okay.
So, and then, of course, Jack Larson's from Charlotte Catholic, and so they're trying to do more down there. Look, okay, so again, what do we see here? Okay, not great getting off, right? Takes contact. The guy beats him inside, right? This is a tackle. Looks like, is that a tight end? Look, tight end gets into his chest.
That's that number one again.
Mm-hmm. Tight end gets into his chest. Bryce's hands are outside, but then just look at the speed. Yep. You know, he beats that guard to the spot. Like that guard is moving, and Bryce just beats him to the spot in his football. That's the impressive part. You're like, technically, as a defensive line coach, I'm like, man, there's so much wrong with this. There's just so much wrong with this. But then you're like, oh, okay, I can't teach that.
Right.
Here's the thing: if I'm Al Washington, if I'm his dad, whoever, I'm like, this part, okay. I can teach that. I can fix that.
Well, go back.
That part,
he's like the last one off the line,
right?
From his team. Like the other three guys on the defensive line get off the ball quicker, than he did in that particular clip,
right?
But you can't teach this last part, man.
Coachable, not coachable. It's just there. Exactly. It's just. You know, that's one of those God-given things, right? That's just you are blessed with that, and that's the thing that you look for, Vince. Like, okay, you know, defensive line coach in Notre Dame makes pretty good money. It makes 6 figures, right? Your job is to take kids like this and teach them how to play the game of football.
Yep,
and that's what you're looking for. And so, I'll be honest, when they first offered him, Vince, I even I brought, hey, is this a guy that you guys are just offering because of his dad? And I mean, I was told from day one by Notre Dame people, no. I mean, look, this is dad, who his dad is, help us make the final decision. Sure. Did it maybe impact the timing? Maybe. But they saw the tools in this kid early.
Did they have him on the punt team? Is that what was going on there a couple of clips ago?
Yes.
Defensive end on the punt team.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like cover that, team.
Yeah.
Right? Nice little move there to make that first guy miss, and then he gets clotheslined. Yeah, good instinct. And just again, the quarterback's trying to fake him, and he doesn't go for it. This is patience here.
Yeah.
I like that. Quarterback's trying to get him to jump and then, go around him.
Go around him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ends up just having basically throw it away.
Yeah. So let's finish up this this highlights here, Vince. See, we're getting pretty close to the end of Mr. Young's highlights. So we'll let these kind of play out a little bit. Don't know what happened there. But yeah, and those little footwork things are the difference between him having a lot of disruptions and a lot of sacks.
Sure.
Right? That initial burst false step, that just really deriving off that front foot, really using your hands a little bit, playing with just a little bit more urgency as a pass rusher are things that you look for and say, those are areas, Vince, that as he improves in those areas, you're going to see him improve a lot more when it comes to sack production. But what you see in this film is a lot of translatable big end clips, big end skills, block destruction, taking on ends, that power and the length to just lock a dude out and get to the football.
Saw that a lot.
Yeah.
Saw that
Those
a lot.
are the big end traits, Vince, that you look for.